Hi guys, this is Saigo no Shenhua with my first video in a bit over 6 years. Wanting to do more of these videos a little bit now, and I got a friend here to help us out with a deck tech for Magic the Gathering. Our friend here is...
Hey everybody, it's your boy, Fruglechunkle here, ready to bring you with a Evo MLG level deck tech. We're starting it off here with the Captain Sisay deck tech. We're going to start things off real nice and simple with the land base. To start things off, we got all 7 fetch lands. Why are we playing all off-colored fetches? This is Evo MLG. We play Evo MLG land bases. So we started off with all our fetches, bring it into our shock. Nice, good strong package, really consistent on our color base here. We got 4 forests and 2 plains, enough to be able to tutor out with all our other lands here. Bring it into our legendary land package. Obviously, with Captain Sisay, we can go ahead and tutor out any of these lands. Don't mind the very ugly Gaia's Cradle. It's pretty beat up, but nice, strong, solid land base. We'll talk here about a bit about this. Nykthos, as you know, can make mana equal to your devotion. I've seen games where make a ton of mana off of this. Really strong card. Corehaven, a bit of a tech card. You can do something similar to a Maze of Ith effect for a colorless white. Tap it. What does it do again? Prevent all combat damage that would be dealt by a target attacking creature this turn. You can take a creature out of combat basically. Really cool. Yavi Maya Hollow. For a green and tapping it, regenerated creature. Haven't had a lot of use out of it yet, but I know, if you got board wipes coming out, you can get a ton of value out of that. I'm sure for anyone that knows, I don't need to say a lot about Gaia's Cradle. Makes a ton of mana. I see this regularly tapping for anywhere in the upwards of 4 to 10, 16 mana. Like you can go really crazy with this.
Real quick, let's get a close-up on that. Tell them how much you got that thing for.
Oh, that was it was 180 is what I got for it. Could have been better, could have been worse. Been a crazy world out there in terms of big reserve list cards. The buyouts that everyone hears about, it's definitely real. You see it and hear about it all the time. The values on these things are getting a bit out of hand. We'll see what happens in the future here. These lands: Pendlehaven, Iganjo Castle, Flagstone, Trokar, and Okina, all pretty basic legendary lands. Don't do anything super notable. And then, obviously, not a legendary land, but we got a Command Tower, as any good commander deck. Followed up with Ancient Tomb, Strip Mine, Horizon Canopy, and a Wasteland. Got a really strong land base here. Makes for really consistent plays. Plenty of mana symbols that I can use. We'll bring it into where I like to start any deck with my ramp engine. Started off with the artifact package, bringing you with Mox Amber, Chrome Mox, Soul Ring, Mox Opal, Mana Crypt, Mox Diamond, and Inspiring Statuary. A lot of these are things you'll probably see around a lot of decks these days. Nothing too notable, but I do want to take a moment to talk about Inspiring Statuary because we'll do a full talk about it here in a second, but this is an equipment sub-theme deck. Obviously, being Captain Sisay, we do play tons of legendaries, but I really wanted to do something different with this deck, and so I went equipment on it. We're the whole one of the big goals with this deck: throw all these pieces on the board, make a big dude, swing big, go wide. That's not equipment, but it's really simple, straightforward. Get as many of these on a guy as we can. Go hard, but with Inspiring Statuary, what's really cool about all of this A tapped equipment, same as a regular equipment. So we can, so when we have all these on the board, we get to tapping, and then we can tap all those for all our non-artifact cards. Like tap 10 of these goes or 11 of these goes right into casting an Ulamog, or goes into casting an Elish Norn. Makes for a ton of mana, and that's what we want. We want tons of mana when we're playing Commander. Like, if you don't have anything to spend your mana on, you need more draw. You need ways to get tons of cards. You should always be able to get tons of cards in your Commander deck, and that's another thing that we try to do here. Because I did have it out, I'll put a special attention here to Paradox Engine. Paradox Engine, as it reads, whenever you cast a spell, untap all non-land permanents you control. What that means for this deck, you have Captain Sisay on the board. You have a handful of rocks. You're casting. Well, let's take this as an example. I can, with just these three pieces right here, I can cast all 4 drops out of my deck. If I'm doing her, then I can drop my Mox Amber, be able to get up to all my 5 drops. But we can go even heavier and higher than that. Gonna bring it up to my ramp package here. We've got Zusa, Lost But Seeking, Nissa, Vastwood Seer, a Birds of Paradise, Llanowar Elves, Avacyn's Pilgrim, Priest of Titania, Sylvala, Heart of the Wild, Rishkar, Pima Renegade, Finhorn Elves, Bloom Tender, Elvish Mystic, Elvish Archdruid, Wood Elves, Marwyn the Nurturer, and a Boreal Druid. Heavy Druid, Heavy Elves, we have a lot of the good big mana elf synergies going on here. As many of the good 1-drop green creatures that I could play. A lot of really good value. I always really like playing Nissa Vastwood Seer as she comes in, gets you a basic forest, gives you tons of value, and then flip her over when you get to that 7 lands, and you get her flip walker side. Basically, as far as I'm concerned, that +1, reveal the top card of your library. If it's a land, goes into play. If not, it goes to your hand. That's drawing a card every turn. Another way that we try to maintain a lot of card advantage in this deck. Sylvala is another example of that. Whenever a creature of the greatest power comes into play, if that's a creature, that's one of your creatures, you draw a card. That effect does work for your opponent. Not traditionally the Evo MLG style. Don't like giving my opponents cards, not my way. But I always do like showing off her other ability. For green and tap herself, add X to your mana pool, where X is the greatest power among creatures you control. This is another example of tons of mana. I've seen this tap for as high as 10, 16 mana. You get a ton of mana off of her, and that's when you make your big plays. Go really hard on that. Since we talked about Planeswalker, we'll bring it there next. We've got Vivian Reed, Elspeth, Sun's Champion, Nahiri the Lithomancer, Karn Liberated, Freyalise Llanowar's Fury, and Garrett Primal Hunter. We'll talk a bit about, I'm sure everyone here knows, as of Magic, it was Ixalan, they eroded all Planeswalker to include the legendary text. Works real well with our Captain Sisay here. You can tutor up for any of these cards using Captain Sisay's ability. Grab you any of these guys, and they can do plenty of work for you. Bring it over to, we'll do our enchantments next. Got Humility, Mirari's Wake, Sylvan Library, and Growing Rights of Itlimoc. Sylvan Library, tons of consistency, really strong card. Mirari's Wake, tons of mana, and doubles as a anthem effect for your whole board. Growing Rights of Itlimoc can get you another creature, and when it flips over, you get basically a Gaia's Cradle. And Humility, this is one of the cornerstones of this deck. So something with Humility is the way it interacts with equipment is really interesting. If you have a Bloodforged Battle Axe, Sword of Light and Shadow, and a Batterskull on a creature, that creature is still a 1/1, but you're getting all of these bonus. You're getting all of these attacks, all these stat changes from your creature onto your creature. Now, I've done a lot of research into this with the way it interacts with layers in Magic the Gathering, where you get into the really heavy rule sections on Magic. You do run into the stranger things in terms of how these cards will interact with one another. You say you have all of these pieces on Sisay, and they were on the board before and equipped before you cast Humility. The moment you cast Humility, you're going to be losing that Pro White and Black and Vigilance and Lifelink. You lose all your keywords and all your special effects, but you may retain any added power and toughness changes to the creature. But if, say, you had a creature like Stoneforge Mystic out and were able to move all of the equipment to that creature, then you get all of your abilities back. And that's one of the ways that this deck really comes together. It Humility, just being a really brutal card, takes all your opponents down, creatures down to 1/1, lose all abilities. But with our heavy equipment package, we definitely get around all of that. Gonna go into our other creatures here. We got Stoneforge, Saram, Reki, Seedborn Muse, and Pure Steel Paladin. With these three here, we got a lot of good equipment synergy. Reki is really awesome for just drawing out tons of our deck. Another good example of drawing lots of cards here. I always like to point out with really fun cards like Mox Amber and Mox Opal, you can these are 0-drop artifacts. You can cast them pretty much at any time, but because they are legendary spells, you're still casting those. You're still drawing a card, and that's how we get tons of value. And that's how we do it here at Evo MLG Gaming. We get tons of mana, tons of cards, tons of value. We don't accept anything less. Never accept mediocrity. We are bringing it at the hardest and highest level of gameplay that we can provide. We'll finish off with the rest of our creatures. A lot of big. This is our big creature package. A lot of this is legendary. Yep. This is not all legendary. But we got here.
This sir does love his Eldrazi's.
Oh yeah, Eldrazi, especially the Eldrazi Titans. They double as being huge mana sinks for our ability to make a ton of mana, on top of being able to be tutored for by Captain Sisay, so we can get them whenever we need them. We got both Ulamogs, Ulamog the Infinite Gyre, and Ulamog the Ceaseless Hunger. We got Kozilek, Butcher of Truth, Emrakul, the Promised End. We got our Praetors here, Vorinclex, Voice of Hunger, Elish Norn, Grand Cenobit. Got Avacyn, Angel of Hope, Sun Titan, and Nizan. What was he again? He's the Revered Bladesmith.
And wasn't he your original idea for the commander of this deck?
Yep, it's this deck started back in Commander 2017. I saw this guy previewed. I'm like, I'm going to try and make a deck for this guy. I always like, soon as the new Commander decks come out, I like trying to build something from it. Maybe sometimes I push myself, try to do something new. Zon, I wasn't feeling him. It started as a really board wipe heavy deck, really heavy control. It wasn't quite my play style, and for sure, with whatever you guys do in Commander, you always want to make sure what you're doing is what you think is the most fun. Playing how you want to play the game is the most important thing. But if you want to play Evo MLG, you play like this. Want to give some special attention and love to Stonehewer Giant here, because he's a really cool guy, because he gets an equipment and attaches it immediately to a creature. You know what that gets? That gets our Gentom Armor. Our Gentom Armor is the biggest, baddest equipment in the game. equipped creature gets +6/+6, and when that creature swings, you destroy a permanent. You can be blowing up lands. You can be blowing up key targets. You can do anything. So, that's a Darksteel Plate. that is not Argentum armor. In my defense, they look kind of similar-ish. You might not think so. I think so. They're both armor. They both kind of do the same thing, you know. But you can get a Darksteel Plate with Stone Hero Giant. So pretty much the same thing, right? Alrighty, that's our big creature package here. Moving on, we've got our instants and sorceries. We'll start it off with our instants. Mostly tutors here, along with a couple other key fun pieces. We got Worldly Tutor, Enlightened Tutor, Eladamri's Call, Benefactor's Drought, To Arms, and Court of Calling. I don't think I have to say a whole lot about the tutors here. Enlightened Tutor is mostly in the deck to tutor out for Humility. Whenever I want to make sure I get that, when I got that really good board state going on equipment and I want to shut everyone down, Enlightened Tutor is a way to help me go about doing that. I didn't give her quite as much love as I should have given her earlier, but I do want to talk about one of my favorite creatures here in this deck. If I could find her here. Oh. Where she went. Seaborn Muse. Seaborn Muse is probably going to be one of your #1 key tutor pieces in the deck. For any of your creature tutors here, you want to get Seaborn Muse. Seaborn Muse is... she untaps all permanents you control during each player's turn. It's really good in a multiplayer format like Commander, where you have tons of lands, and more than anything, we have Captain Sisay, who you're going to be drawing a card during each of your opponent's turns. Really strong, tons of value. And then we also have Benefactor's Drought and 2 Arms to do a very similar thing. We want to have Captain Sisay out before we cast these cards, and ideally we're going to have a fair amount of creature ramp our elf package provides. Ideally, we're going to be casting these spells basically for free because we're going to have a couple elves out there in play. We're going to tap those down, and we're going to get about the same amount of mana out from them just to throw out a couple elves. Say we got these guys out on board. We're gonna tap these. I mean, at a bare minimum here, we're looking at 3-4 mana maybe, and then that's gonna pay for the cost of these cards. We're gonna draw a card, and then we're gonna tutor another card off of Captain Sisay. Tons of hand advantage, getting big board states. That's what we're all about here at Evo MLG Gaming. We go big, we go hard. We don't accept anything less than the best. No mediocrity here. And finish it off with our big sorceries. We got Tooth and Nail, Rishkar's Expertise, and Green Sun Zenith. Green Sun Zenith being another tutor card to grab our Seaborn Muse. Tooth and Nail, get you 2 big things. We got big things in this deck. Big things is half of what this deck is about. Whenever you drop your Elish Norn and your Vorinclex, this card says you're living in Praetor's World now. Praetor's World, you don't play in Praetor's World. Praetor's World plays you. And then Rishkar's Expertise, another big draw. We draw tons of cards here. Draw cards equal to the greatest power among creatures we control. You got an Ulamog out there, you're drawing 10 cards. You got an Emrakul out there, you're drawing 13 cards. We draw tons of cards, and then, if that wasn't enough, you get to cast a card, converted mana cost 5 or less, for free after you cast that. And that'll do it. That's how we do it here at Evo MLG Gaming. I hope you like this deck tech. We'll have the link in the description for the deck list if you ever want to check that out. And until next time, stay pro.
Thank you very much for helping us out with showing off your deck, and I appreciate anybody who watches this video. If you have any questions about the deck or want to get some ideas for yourself or give us some of your ideas, just leave some comments below, and stay tuned for any future deck techs that we may be able to post on here. Thank you.